You have an objective here. The results are what matters. You will never get that guy going. Be a realist about things. People are dust. You want your organization to grow, then you go get somebody else. Guy asked me once, he said, what's the biggest reason people don't make it? I just came up right off the top of my head. I said, no guts. Let's talk about winning. We don't have a whole lot of time. So get out your notepad and take some notes, folks, because we're kind of in la-la land right here. I mean, this is absolutely unbelievable. And Wednesday morning, when you're sitting back at your office staring at the walls, you better know what you're going to do. Now, I don't have a whole lot of time, but I do want to talk to you about the ingredients that I had to have to win over the last 10 years and the things that I had to do. You have to have some prevailing attitudes, and they have to permeate you and everything about you. And attitude number one is that you are going to win. You have to know that, believe that about yourself, that you're going to win. You have to totally sell out. Folks, there is freedom in selling out. That's another way of saying being totally committed. There is freedom in that. I mean, you want peace and freedom, you get committed, and you got to lay your neck on the line. And that can be as something as hard or simple as telling your friends and your in-laws or whatever that you're going to do A.O. Williams, that you are going to make it happen no matter what. And you risk a little there. You risk failing, but that's the way it has to be. Now, let's go through these points quickly. One, you got to take responsibility for your own life completely and absolutely. If you're not growing, it's your fault. If your base shop is not moving, it's your fault. If you're not making money, it's your fault. If there's no energy in your organization, it's your fault. Nobody owes you anything, nothing. You owe them something. You owe them your leadership, your ability. You owe them everything. They owe you nothing. You know, you think about people that take responsibility for their own lives. You know that Lee Christensen that got up here and thought somebody called him a dud. So he went out and in 6 months became an NSD. That's taking responsibility for your own life. You want to know what else? Some of these questions you hear all the time, what aren't I doing? I suggest this to you. Every one of you knows exactly what you are not doing. You know exactly why you're not winning. I believe that completely. You know what you're afraid of. You know what you won't do. You know the calls you won't make, the people you won't talk to, the good attitude you won't have. You know what you have to do. You know what you got to overcome, and it's your responsibility to solve it, whether it's fear or laziness or procrastination, whatever it can be. You got to have a compelling drive and desire to win. It's got to eat you up. It's got to be it's just, you got to want it so bad. I mean, folks, would you sit out there? Wouldn't you like to be one of the persons that got to come up here and speak? I mean, this is an experience. Because someone said, hey, you're good enough to get up there and share something with somebody else? Or wouldn't you like to be one of the people that get the awards like that? Or be like Jimmy Myers and get that award? You know, I can tell you, I haven't talked to him yet, but I know what he felt like. That adrenaline rush, that sense of accomplishment. Why can't that happen to you? I mean, it should happen to you. Why can't it happen to you? You got to determine you're going to do it. You got to want it really bad. Desire to be number one, push to be number one. Folks, you're looking at a guy here. It still blows me away when I look at these accomplishments. I can't hardly believe that it's happened to me, but I didn't start out going, I want to be the biggest guy or I want to make the most money. I just want to excel at every level and do the best that I can. And in my heart of hearts, I wanted to win. Don't you want to get to a place in your life where you know you're a leader? When you feel it and know it? You don't have to have anybody to tell you. I mean, you lead. That's a decision, you know. Could you might be one of the people come around to you and say, can I get your autograph? Can I get your autograph? You know how great that feels? I mean, why can't that happen to you? Or show off a little bit. I always like what Bill Whittle said. Every time he'd buy a new car or something, the car automatically turned by his old friends that wouldn't do A.O. Williams so they could show it off. I mean, wouldn't you like to do that? Own the home that you want to have, go where you want to go, send your kids to the places you want to send them, enjoy life and all that life has to offer? It won't just happen to you. You have to be driven you have to go make that happen. Another point, folks, I am a realist about things. I don't kid myself about things. People kid themselves about everything in A.O. Williams. I don't kid myself about my newest recruit. I don't tell myself he's great when he's not. I don't kid myself about how much money I'm going to make next year and get happy because I think something's going to happen later. I don't kid myself about how much work it takes. It takes all the work you can possibly muster and more. I don't kid myself that a dud's going to become a stud. And I never kid myself. I never celebrate before I win. You got to be a realist in this business. And you got to have an incredible work ethic. You know, I don't know that anybody can work for a whole career, just constantly and intensely forever. I think the truth be known, I think many of the great leaders have periods of time where they just can't keep hitting it and hammering it. But let me tell you a fact. The fact is, if you're going to make it in A.L. Williams, if you're going to make it big, there has to be a 2 or 3 year period in your life when you're absolutely consumed with doing A.O. Williams. I mean, a work ethic. When I talk about work ethic, man, I'm talking about working until your throat is sore and your tongue is swollen up when you come home at night and you're beat and wiped out. And the phone keeps ringing at 12:30 and you keep picking it up and you keep motivating and you're back out into 6 o'clock in the morning. And you do that day after day and month after month. And then you watch the other guys fall off and quit and give up. You just keep going. And folks, about the time you can't take it anymore, about the time you just think you're burnt out and fried, you have your machine going. Your company's moving. See, I've seen plenty of people that work harder than I for 30 days. And then they're depressed for 30 days. Then they go to a meeting and they're fired up for 30 more days. And then they quit for 30 days. It doesn't work. You got to put it all together for a long period of time, for a couple of years. Very as intense as it can get. You're going to miss things. I don't think I saw a sporting event or saw a thing for 3 or 5 years. You got to stay positive when you feel depressed. You got to motivate people when you feel like I can't pick up the phone. I mean, you have to do what apparently only 1 or 2% of the people are willing to do. The hard stuff. When you talk about partners, it's just so important. The whole personality of my organization is really due to my wife, Marna. Whatever class we have in our organization, she has definitely put it there. It's her stamp, her personality. I mean, she does everything from designing the T-shirts to bringing the Pointer Sisters in to sing for our team and everything in between. And I really want to thank her, even right here where I am, and thank her for helping me get here and tell her that I love her more than anything in the world. And I appreciate her. You got to have an ability to focus. Just working hard but not focusing isn't good enough. I mean, the kind of guy I am. If I work a 15-hour day and I work very hard but I don't get any results, I don't feel happy. I'd rather work a few hours and get a result, but I see so many people just working. They feel happy because they're working. You have an objective here. The results are what matters. So you need to focus and don't change your mind all the time. You come to one thing I know about the way I did things, bottom line is, for 10 years, I've had fundamentally the same management philosophy, and I haven't changed a bit in my basic philosophy about how you treat people, how you stretch them, how you get them to grow, regardless of the winds of change and new deals, new ideas that come up, and new systems, new things. The basic fundamentals of how you stretch people and you pull them along and you pull the best out of them and you don't give things away have worked. And I think they'll always work. It's important that you do productive work. Let me tell you 2 sentences, Neil Williams, that just turned me. I just can't stand to hear them. My guys know it too. Sentence number 1. I'm getting to get together with my guys. I'm going to get together with my guys. You guys don't want to get together with you anymore. You want to build, you want to grow, then you go out and find some new people, some new stuff. People sit together, have coffee, spend time with people, over-motivate, over-talk to them. Or if I could just get my guys going, if I could just get that guy going, you will never get that guy going. Be a realist about things. People are dust. You want your organization to grow, then you go get somebody else. You make them uncomfortable. You make them nervous. Hector Lamarck said it perfectly yesterday. You let them feel like they're going to be left in the dust. You're going places, and they're not going to come with you. That's how you motivate people. That's how you get them going. See, I spent a whole 10 years, and I'm fortunate this happened, but I guarantee you that as great as Hector and Rick and and Dewey and Steve and Ken Parrott and all those guys are, I believe they're a little better because my base shop was always a little bigger. I don't think it's a coincidence that we had all those guys. They will never have a comfortable day. Never. Until their base shop was bigger than mine was when in this heyday when they were sitting there. I mean, that's just simply leading by example. They don't get that big because I pick up the phone every day and go, just do a little bit more, Hector. Ken, just go do a little bit more. I don't have to do it. All they need to do is look at a leader. They're motivated. They're winners. They're the right kind of people. So you got to lead them by example. It's never going to happen because you ask people to do it. You know, you talk about commitment. You got to have a total commitment. And I don't know what it is that makes people afraid to commit. But you know, the act of committing to something wholeheartedly itself will give you that peace and freedom that you're seeking, that you want, that you're looking for, the happiness, just the act of the total commitment. It puts you in a way that you can make something happen. You can't hang back one bit and make it happen to A.L. Williams. I was talking to Cheryl Bartlett in the back. I said, I believe that doing A.L. Williams is probably the toughest job in the world. I don't view it as a job, but it's tough. It's just the rewards are so great and you feel so fantastic and you make so many great associations and friends, but it's a tough job, a tough thing to do. And you're not going to do it if you're not totally committed. And you got to be persistent. You know, all these things you say, geez, I wish I could think of something new to say, you know, but the truth is the truth is the truth and will always be the truth. You got to be persistent. Now I want you to do something. Look at the guy on your right or gal real quickly. Now look at the one on your left. You need to get excited because they're probably going to quit. Folks, listen. For years, I just knew in my heart of hearts that most people will give up. Most people will slack off. Most people will let up and won't keep going and won't keep moving. And I knew if I could just stay consistent and keep doing it and keep making it happen, that you'll eventually get up there and make it happen. Now, I'm not saying they're just going to send some letter and it says, I quit. They give up emotionally. They quit giving it 100%. I mean, I was excited about that. And you should be too. Now, I wish that you'd all do it, but that's not real. It's not going to happen. I don't care who you are, what your talent is, what you feel about yourself. You can have it all here if you put some of these things into practice. You know, so I want to talk about three things real quick that I think hurts people the most, that for some reason it seems to be the biggest traps in A.L. Williams, and you have to be careful and you do it yourself. It's comparing yourself. You look at the other guy, I mean, and I forgot who said that yesterday, but you take the very best of what you think somebody else is, and then you compare it to the very worst of what you think you are. And that's just not real. I mean, we all have our faults, we all have our strengths, we all have our weaknesses. But don't you compare yourself to the other person. You'll eat your stomach up in knots. It will keep you from doing the right thing. My dad always used to tell me, my dad can always beat me in golf. Doesn't matter what I'm doing or where I am. And he laughs at me because he says, you know, all I got to do is get you to play against me. And he can do that. He gets me to play against him instead of playing the course and playing the hole. And you got to play your course and you got to play it your way and set your goals for yourself and just keep moving and keep marching. And remember, you know, who makes it to the end is the real winner, right? I believe that. Who makes it to the end is the real winner, not the one who makes it in the spur. There have been all kinds of flashes over the years. It's the ones that keep going and keep moving and keep making it happen. So you don't compare yourself to other people. And then dealing with fear. Fear immobilizes people. Now, if I had a lot of time, and this is more personal, I really believe that I probably had to deal with more fears, more real, hard fears than almost anybody I ever met to do A.L. Williams. But when you commit to something completely and you want something so bad, you'll start facing those fears. And I have actually come to a point in my life where I see obstacles and certain fears as almost a blessing. Because I learned that is what life is. I mean, life is difficult. A.L. Williams is not Camelot. You don't win because you show up. There's one obstacle after another, and there always will be, regardless of how much money you have or how big you are. But see, I believe God made it this way. Every time you overcome those obstacles, you become stronger, you become better, you're ready for another challenge and for another thing. So I've come to view obstacles as something positive. And you need to look at it like that, regardless of what that fear is. And it can be something so little. I mean, afraid to pick up the phone. And there are RVPs all over here that won't pick up the phone or talk to people or work hard or motivate people when they're down or things like that. Just fear of losing, fear of telling someone, I'm going to make it happen no matter what. They're frightened to do that. They'd rather say, well, I'm giving it my best. You know, I'm working hard at it. We'll see. Anything other than I want this more than anything in the world. I know what it's like to wake up at 4 a.m. in a sweat because you go, I don't know if I can keep it up. I don't know if I can keep doing. I don't know if I've just been lucky. I know what that feels like. But I didn't quit or rationalize. I know what it's like to feel like, man, sometimes I wish I was just one of the people in the crowd and nobody ever called on me and I could just sit there and relax and be happy. I only wish it for a minute, but I know what it's like to feel like that. You've got to learn to overcome your fears in life. Because if you don't learn to overcome, the price is too severe. It's too heavy. You blow your whole life. Guy asked me once, he said, what's the biggest reason people don't make it? And I just came right off the top of my head. I said, no guts. No guts. You face obstacles, you won't go through them. You won't go over them. You won't beat them. No courage, maybe is a better word. And you think of the price you have to pay by not being willing or not screwing up the courage to deal with the things that I know that you know you're not doing. The permanent lifetime price of failure in your own mind, knowing it forever. No reruns. Can't go back and do it again. Missing the moment. All because you wouldn't face yourself. You wouldn't deal with things. Price is way too heavy, way too heavy. But there's lots of people that are willing to pay that price. I'm not one of them. I want to make it happen. And I hope you do too. Man, this is a great meeting. You need to get back home and tear them up. Thank you very much.